When we think of public figures and their life stories, we often find ourselves immersed in narratives filled with controversies, ups and downs, and the constant search for acceptance. However, the story of Melania Trump, the wife of the 45th President of the United States, Donald Trump, is a surprising journey of transformation, empowerment, and above all, generous actions that have touched the hearts of millions around the world. Although the media cameras and political spotlights often focus on the Trump name, there is a facet of the family that few know, the silent and transformative impact they have made in various parts of the world. In a world where glamour and ostentation often overshadow good deeds, Melania Trump and her children have set an example of the true meaning of generosity and compassion. Melania Trump was born in Slovenia, a small nation in Central Europe, and migrated to the United States at a young age, where she built her career as a model and eventually became one of the most well-known women in the world. However, her public life was marked by much more than her relationship with Donald Trump. Over the years, Melania has shown a growing passion for humanitarian causes, something that was not always the media focus but has gradually gained attention. During her husband's 4-year term as President of the United States, Melania took on the role of First Lady with a renewed commitment to supporting programs that benefited the most needy children and families. Her Be Best campaign, which aims to promote child welfare, combat online bullying, and address substance abuse, was one of the most visible initiatives of her tenure. Through this campaign, Melania sought to create a more positive and healthy environment for future generations. Although her work with Be Best received some criticism, Melania always defended that the focus should not be on politics, but on the impact these causes could have on children's lives. She visited hospitals, schools, and other institutions around the world, showing that her vision for childhood was more than just empty words, but a series of concrete actions designed to create a more welcoming environment for young people. But the Trump family's impact was not limited to Melania. Her children, especially Barron Trump, have been an important part of her journey. Although Barron has kept a low profile, away from the spotlight, Melania has always made a point of protecting his privacy and ensuring that he had as normal a childhood as possible, away from the pressure of the public eye. This commitment to family is something she shares with Donald Trump, who, despite the criticisms and controversies surrounding his presidency, has always made it a priority to put family first. Donald Trump's children, including Donald Jr., Ivanka, Eric, and Tiffany, have also been involved in various causes over the years, often working behind the scenes to support charitable initiatives. Ivanka, in particular, stood out during her father's presidency when she took a position in the White House as a presidential advisor. Ivanka has always had an active role in issues related to women's empowerment and entrepreneurship, using her platform to support women around the world. She has also been involved in various charitable initiatives, including working with organizations that help women in vulnerable situations. In addition to their children, the Trump family has also been involved in various charitable organizations, contributing large sums of money and time. The Trump Foundation, although it has faced criticism over the years, has been a platform for supporting various humanitarian causes, including education, health, and the fight against poverty. Melania Trump, in particular, has been an advocate for strengthening communities and supporting education, firmly believing that offering opportunities to children is one of the most effective ways to change the future of a nation. The generosity of Melania and her family is not limited to the United States. During her time at the White House, Melania made several international visits, many of which were focused on supporting educational and humanitarian programs in developing countries. On several of these trips, she met with children and families facing immense challenges, such as lack of access to education or shortages of food and medical resources. Her approach was always one of empathy and solidarity, seeking practical ways to help rather than just making empty statements of support. Of course, the Trump family is not immune to criticism and the challenges that come with public life. However, Melania's and her children's humanitarian work has proven to be a light amid a tumultuous political and social landscape. Their legacy, far from political controversies, is rooted in a commitment to causes aimed at improving people's lives, especially children, who are the future of society. In a world often saturated with celebrity images and heated politics, Melania Trump and her children have shown that behind the Trump name is a family deeply committed to the well-being of others, through generous and practical actions that have touched lives in various parts of the world. In doing so, they remind us that in times of polarization and conflict, true generosity can be a silent yet powerful force capable of making a difference where it matters most, in the hearts of people. The first surprise that caught the public's attention was a discreet marriage between Melania and Donald, held in a private ceremony without the excesses that would follow. The Slovenian princess, amidst the luxury of the wedding, was not dazzled by wealth and remained focused on her mission. This balance between a glamorous lifestyle and a reserved nature would begin to shape the future of the family. With the birth of Baron, the only son of Melania and Donald, the life of the former model took a new direction. Melania's pregnancy was one of the most emotional moments of the Trump family's life, especially for Donald, who always showed immense love for his son. Even with the demands of his political career and the challenges that arose during his presidency, Melania made it a point to prioritize Baron's upbringing, away from the spotlight and Hollywood pressure. Melania and her humanitarian actions, a silent yet powerful voice. While the world focused on every move of Donald Trump during his presidency, often overlooking the role of his wife, Melania Trump, a woman known for her discretion and unshakable composure, she was in fact conducting a series of essential, quiet, and often underestimated humanitarian actions. The First Lady of the United States was not just a figure of support for her husband. She was developing her own legacy, focused on the well-being of children and tackling deep societal issues like online bullying, substance abuse, and mental health care. The main manifestation of this silent work was the Be Best initiative, launched in 2018. The program was Melania's attempt to influence change in an area where young people face increasingly complex challenges in the digital world and everyday life. Her goal was not only to protect children's physical health, but also to help them cope with the emotional and psychological issues facing this generation. The campaign directly addressed issues such as bullying, a scourge of the digital age, substance abuse, and the urgent need to address mental health from an early age. While many expected her to get involved in political issues or traditional First Lady duties, Melania took a different path, focusing on areas that were often marginal to political discussions. Her project was not limited to speeches. She worked, in fact, to bring about change at least as much as a public figure with her position could. One of the greatest qualities of the Be Best campaign was its sincerity, largely built from Melania's personal experiences. She understood what it meant to be the target of relentless criticism and, more importantly, felt the weight of societal expectations. Melania didn't limit her impact to the United States alone. Through her international travels, she also worked to bring solutions to global issues, particularly regarding child poverty and education. She met with leaders from several nations, forming strategic alliances to combat poverty and ensure education for children in vulnerable conditions. One of the most impressive milestones of her journey was her visit to Kuwait, where she participated in an event dedicated to promoting children's education and supporting refugee children. There, Melania highlighted the importance of ensuring that every child had the same learning opportunities, regardless of their social background or the political situation in their home country. Additionally, Melania showed a genuine interest in issues of child health and nutrition by visiting hospitals and nonprofit organizations, always focusing on the protection of the most vulnerable children. Her work advocating for basic education, especially for girls in developing countries, represented a way to empower new generations and give them the tools to transform the future. One of the aspects that stand out in Melania's legacy is the discreet way in which she handled her humanitarian mission. She didn't position herself as an aggressive activist or a public figure in need of immediate recognition. Instead, Melania preferred to work behind the scenes, away from the camera lens, focus on the real impact of her actions. Her silent stance was often interpreted as disinterest or lack of engagement, but for those who closely followed her work, the truth was quite different. Over the years, the First Lady was constantly criticized, both by the media and the public, but the fact is that she never allowed that to divert her from her goals. Melania believed that in an increasingly noisy world, silent action and the pursuit of lasting results were more valuable than any temporary attention. Her dedication to child welfare and mental health promotion continued, even when the media focus shifted to the controversies of her husband's presidency. Though the Be Best campaign did not garner the same media or political recognition as other initiatives, it is a clear example of how Melania Trump, far from the stages of traditional politics, became an advocate for the causes that truly mattered to her. The project touched the reality of many young people, offering them not only a message of hope, but also practical tools to deal with the challenges of modern life. Curiosities about Be Best, global influence. The campaign had a direct impact in several countries, with Melania establishing connections with international organizations that work with at-risk children. Action against bullying. During several of her trips, Melania spoke directly to children and teenagers about the importance of fighting digital bullying, a growing problem in schools around the world. Mental health. The First Lady was one of the few public figures to speak out about the importance of children's and teenagers' mental health, emphasizing that psychology should be a central part of the school curriculum. Visits to hospitals and schools. Melania not only signed papers, but was physically present in various schools and hospitals, showing a more human side to her work. But the story doesn't end there. Melania and Donald's children, especially Barron Trump, have shown in their own ways the family's legacy of generosity and compassion. Barron, although much more reserved than his parents, has been involved in social causes, mainly related to education and mental health, inspiring young people around the world. During a visit to Africa, Melania and Barron witnessed firsthand the impact of poverty and the lack of educational resources in various communities. Deeply moved by the situation, Melania decided to invest in projects that would provide better education for children in vulnerable situations. Barron, alongside his mother, demonstrated surprise and maturity when speaking to young Africans about their own hopes and dreams, reinforcing the importance of education as a tool for transformation. These actions did not go unnoticed. International organizations, including UNICEF, recognized the work of Melania and Barron, who together helped raise millions of dollars for education, health, and support programs for at-risk children. However, Melania's life was not only marked by public and generous events. There were also moments of introspection, where she questioned the true impact of her presence in the White House and the nature of the role she was playing. During Donald Trump's term, Melania faced moments of loneliness, emotional distance, and relentless criticism from both the public and the media. But it was precisely in these difficult moments that she found the strength to keep going, often seeking refuge in the embrace of her family. Barron's presence was vital to Melania, who did everything she could to ensure that her son had a healthy and protected childhood, away from the pressures of an unforgiving public life. Even in the face of adversity, she remained committed to being a present, loving, and protective mother. Even when the cameras were off and the spotlight was dimmed, Melania was at home, dedicating herself to Barron, his interests, and his education, with a determination that revealed her unconditional love. For her, the greatest legacy she could leave was not a title, but the certainty that her son would grow up to be a person of integrity, with solid values. However, an unexpected event would deeply shake the Trump family. During a personal and family crisis, Melania made a decision that would change the course of her life. She stepped away from public life for a brief period, a time of reflection and reconnection. This moment of pause was not just an escape from external pressures, but an opportunity for Melania to reconnect with her roots and with her true mission in life. It was a reconfiguration, a chance to rediscover who she really was, away from the public figure and away from politics. During this time, Melania, her children, and Donald began to focus on more intimate actions, far from the glamour of the White House. In one of the most moving actions, the family traveled to a rehabilitation center in a remote town. There, they met children and families facing unimaginable challenges, battling addictions, diseases, and situations of extreme vulnerability. Melania, deeply touched by the life stories and resilience of the people she encountered, initiated a personal project to raise funds for medical and psychological treatments for at-risk children. She knew that by supporting those in greatest need, she was creating a lasting impact that went beyond her position or fame. Melania's most touching gesture came in a simple, yet meaningful ceremony. In an act of humility and generosity, she and Barron, alongside Donald, personally delivered the resources they had raised to families going through hardships. The moment was filmed, and the images of the Trump family humbly handing over essential resources touched millions around the world. The emotion was palpable, and that simple act of compassion symbolized something much greater: the human ability to change the world for the better, even through a small act of kindness. It was in that moment that the world finally saw Melania Trump in a different light. No longer just as the wife of a former president, but as a woman with a generous heart who, through concrete actions, dedicated herself to causes that transcended any political line. She became a symbol of personal overcoming, emotional healing, and true compassion. And it was that simple, yet powerful gesture that made many people around the world begin to see Melania in a new light. The story of Melania Trump and her family is a story of overcoming, generosity, and transformation. It teaches us that behind the spotlight and the criticisms, there is a woman who, through her quiet work and dedicated actions, is changing lives around the world. Melania, Barron, and Donald Trump, in their own unique way, have shown that the real impact of a person is not measured only by what is done publicly, but by what is done behind the scenes, with an open heart to help others. If you were moved by this story and want to see more content like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your interaction is very important to us, and together we can spread more stories that touch the heart. Make sure to follow us on this journey of empathy and transformation.